In a quiet village wrapped in the blush of dawn, a young woman sat on the worn steps of her small clay house, her fingers tracing circles in the dust. The world around her stirred awake, roosters crowing, pots clinking, but her heart felt heavy, untouched by the new day's promise. Somewhere beyond the hills, clouds gathered as if mirroring her thoughts. She whispered to herself, "Will the sun ever shine for me again?" Her question drifted with the breeze, landing near an old banyan tree where a silver-haired lady walked slowly, humming a song of forgotten comfort. The woman looked up, meeting eyes that carried warmth and mystery, unaware that this brief encounter would rewrite her. Heart's tomorrow, morning sunlight spilled through a canopy of banyan leaves, scattering golden freckles across the narrow path that led to the village square. Mud-walled homes stood in neat lines, their doors painted in fading reds and greens, while the smell of wood smoke and boiling tea floated through the air. Children skipped toward the well, their laughter blending with the rhythm of hand pumps and the low murmur of distant prayers. At the edge of the square lived Radha, the young woman whose gentle face rarely carried a smile these days. Her husband had gone to the city months ago in search of work, leaving her to care for 2 small children and a patch of wilting crops. Beneath the old banyan sat Uma, the silver-haired elder known for her endless patience and soft laughter. She spoke little, but when she did, even the village birds seemed to pause and listen. Radha often passed her quietly, drawn by something unspoken, perhaps the stillness that surrounded a woman who appeared to worry about nothing at all. As the afternoon heat pressed down, Radha stared at the cracked earth behind her house, each fissure reminding her of how empty the pantry had become. The children slept inside, their breaths shallow, unaware of the quiet fear gathering in their mother's chest. She thought of her husband in the faraway city. No news, no letter, no money. Doubt crept in like smoke, filling every corner of her mind. She tried to pray, but the words tangled on her tongue. Neighbors spoke of failed harvests, of debts growing like weeds, and a voice inside her whispered, "Maybe joy is not meant for people like me." That evening, while carrying her empty basket past the banyan tree, Radha saw Amma sitting in her usual spot, feeding crumbs to sparrows. The old woman's calmness both comforted and irritated her. How could someone smile when life offered so little? When Uma caught her eye, Radha's composure broke. "Everything I touch withers," she cried softly. "How do you stay so happy when the world doesn't care?" Amma smiled, tilting her head. "Child," she asked gently, "do you really believe joy depends on what the world gives, or on what you choose to see?" Amma patted the ground beside her, and Radha, weary from holding her troubles alone, sat down. The old woman's hands moved slowly, scattering the last crumbs for the sparrows. "Look at them," Amma said softly. "They wake each morning not knowing if grain awaits, yet they still sing." Her voice wove calm into the air. After a pause, she began a small tale. Long ago, a poor potter lost his clay to a flood. For days, he cursed the river for stealing his work. One morning, the current left behind smooth pebbles shimmering like jewels. When he gathered them, he found they made stronger pots than before. His anger had blinded him to a gift hiding inside loss. Radha listened, her breath slowing. Amma turned to her. "My child, when we feed our minds fear, we shape more fear. When we feed them courage, life shifts to meet us. You cannot control the rain, but you can decide whether to see failure or possibility." Something in those words loosened the tightness in Radha's chest. The sparrows flew upward, wings flashing in circles of light, and for the first time in weeks, she whispered a small promise to herself, to try thinking differently tomorrow. The next morning, dawn glimmered faintly through the banyan leaves as Radha stirred from sleep. For a moment, the old heaviness waited, but she remembered Uma's words. Before her feet touched the floor, she murmured, "Today will bring a blessing." The words felt awkward at first, like a seed pressed into dry soil. Yet she repeated them while sweeping the courtyard and washing tiny clothes. Throughout the day, small changes unfolded. A neighbor offered leftover rice. Radha thanked her instead of apologizing. She hummed while tending the tired plants, and droplets of dew shone like answers. When the children quarreled, she knelt and told them they'd learn patience together. The world remained simple, yet something invisible had softened. People greeted her kindly. Smiles lingered longer. Even the air seemed lighter, carrying a hint of jasmine from the temple. Each evening she sat beneath the banyan, whispering gratitude for things once unnoticed. The breeze, her children's laughter, her own breath moving steadily. The more she noticed goodness, the more appeared. And in that quiet shift, Radha realized that the miracle was not somewhere waiting to arrive. It had already begun inside her change of thought. Weeks passed, and hope took root where fear once lived. One evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, the postman arrived with a worn envelope. Radha's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a letter from her husband. He had found steady work and was sending money home. Joy flooded her eyes. Before she even finished reading, she ran to the banyan tree, heart racing faster than her feet. Oma listened to the news with a knowing smile. "See, child," she said, "the world becomes kinder when your thoughts do." The letter was always on its way. You simply cleared space for it to arrive. Radha folded her palms, gratitude swelling inside. Around them, sparrows circled, chirping their small approval. The problems of life had not vanished, but they no longer ruled her. She learned that peace is not the absence of struggle. It is the quiet strength to meet it with faith. And in that understanding, her world finally felt whole again. That night, the sky shimmered with scattered stars, and the banyan leaves rustled like gentle applause. Radha sat beside Uma, the lamp between them casting halos of gold. The old woman spoke softly. "Life listens to the tone of our thoughts. Whisper gratitude, and it hums in return." Radha closed her eyes, breathing in the stillness that once frightened her, but now felt like peace itself. The village slept, unaware of the quiet revolution in one woman's heart. For every soul who carries worry tonight, her story whispers a promise. Think kindly, hope bravely, and light will always find you.